I'm awake during the day. What's happening? It's like 1:30 p.m. This isn't normal. Why am I up? I look tired as fuck. You're not supposed to look this tired at 1:30 p.m. This is weird. So guys, I get asked a question a lot, especially when I keep making all these videos asking people to analyze stuff about how to go about it. How do you analyze things? And it's an odd question for me because it's like it just comes kind of naturally. It's my job and passion and what I do all the time. So I have to kind of think back on how did I get started doing this. I mean, initially I was just reading and writing a lot of reviews, and it was just sort of a matter of I'd watch a show and I'd want to talk about it, so I'd just say whatever I had to say about it. Usually what I had to say about it wasn't very interesting back in the day, but I just felt like I wanted to get my thoughts out there about pretty much every show I watched. So then eventually I found people who were writing more analytical stuff, and I became interested in saying, well, I don't want to write about every show I watch. I want to write about the ones that I have an interesting or unique perspective on, or ones where other people aren't quite saying what I have to say. I think a big part of what got me into doing this type of writing is that I'm such a big fan of like genres like slice of life and stuff that don't get a lot of respect in much of the like reviewing sphere. Like a lot of people don't like those types of shows or are really harsh on them. So for me, and like I'm still into those kinds of shows, but back when I was first writing about anime, I was like really big into them. Like that's kind of why I have so many posters and stuff pertaining mostly to like slice of life shows from the mid 2000s, is because that was the genre I was into at the time. But I felt like I was playing defense for a lot of shows or representing a perspective that was being overlooked in the community. So So a big part of it for me was looking at shows that I liked and saying, well, why? I mean, that's really the ultimate, if you want to be an analyst, the main question you have to ask yourself is always, why do I feel the way I feel about this thing? If you watch a show and you think, I really love this show, then ask yourself, what do I love so much about this show? And then seek to answer that question by writing about it. Or if a show makes you feel a certain way, why does it make me feel this way? Or if it gives you a certain impression, why does it give you that impression? Like, a lot of people might write something to the effect of how, like, the deep themes of Kill La Kill or something. Like, if you were just writing about the thematic elements, not necessarily what makes the show good or bad, or what makes you like it or don't like it, but if you wanted to write about a theme you noticed in Kill La Kill, the way to go about it is to ask yourself, why do I feel that this is the theme? What about this show makes me think that it's about this theme that I've seen in it, Like, if I wrote about Serial Experiments Lain, if you watch my videos on that, that's essentially the question I'm asking myself is like, what is this making me feel, and why is it making me feel that? And then I seek to explain that, be it thematically or in terms of why I like the show. So, that's really the main thing. And I would say that my best advice to writers is to write everything, write down every single idea you have, anything that's even remotely interesting, and then go through what you've written and decide after you've written it whether it's interesting enough to publish. Wait till afterwards. Or actually, better yet, just publish it anyways. Even if it's not interesting, just so that you can have published something and gotten the practice in. Like, it doesn't really matter if it's good or not. Even if it's complete shit, it doesn't matter, because nothing has to be good. You just gotta keep making more until it is good. Just never stop publishing things. I still have up... I've always kept up all of my old anime blog posts so that it's easy for you to trace my evolution as a writer. I like it so that people can just go to my blog if you wanted to, and you can go back to 2007 when the blog started and read the shittiest fucking posts ever written that I wrote when I was 15, and you could go back through and see how I just never stopped writing, published everything I came up with. There's tons and tons of stuff in there that I regret writing. There's some terrible, terrible posts in there. The other day I found, or not the other day, but like a few weeks back, I randomly found a post I wrote about like Ghost in the Shell standalone complex in like 2010, and it made me want to punch my fucking self in the face because it was so stupid and ignorant about the show, and I couldn't believe it. But you know, it's at the time it was how I felt, so I published it, and now I've written more stuff about Ghost in the Shell that's far more accurate to my current feelings, and it's out there. So, yeah, like, don't worry about anything you write being good, just fucking publish it, and someone might read it, or watch it, or whatever. I mean, if you make analytical videos about anime, I will definitely give them a shot, if you link them to me. I won't promise I'll like them. I actually have really high standards, and I'm extremely difficult to impress. So in spite of the fact that I'm constantly putting out these rallying cries, it's sort of like a... This would sound like really bad, but it's almost like a culling process. Like I want 100 new people to start, so that if only 5 of them are good, at least I got 5 new people, you know? So, but all those 100, if they keep going, can be good. I think all the worst writers are the ones who stop writing, you know? Unless you somehow manage to never improve, like certain people on YouTube. But yeah, you should improve naturally just by doing it all the time and continuing to, you know, ask yourself questions. And by all means, if there is something you have a unique and interesting perspective on that no one else is covering, then please talk about it. Especially if you can talk about things other than just narrative, because narrative can be interesting to talk about, but I really want more like analysis of visuals and sound design and just, you know, everything else that goes into creating shows. Animation, of course. I'd love to see more content talking about those things and not just about story. And if you are talking about story, I would love to see more about themes than just the quality of the writing of the narrative. You know, like... Because unless you have really strange ideas about what is good or bad writing, or you're playing defense for something that most people wouldn't think has good writing, then the same rules kind of apply to every show for the most part. Like, if you are... That's the wrong phrasing. People apply the same rules to every show, it seems like, and I get sick of hearing people go through the same thing about every show, like... Here's why this show has good writing. And it's like, yeah, that sounds exactly like why every other show has good writing, as described in every other review. Not to say that, you know, there's no benefit to having that for every show. But, like, I'd much rather if someone made a video like, here's why Samurai Flamenco is still well written, even though it's completely batshit fucking insane and breaks every convention of what writing is supposed to be. That could be interesting, you know. But better yet, I'd love to see just, here's the themes of Samurai Flamenco that make it so interesting that its bad writing doesn't matter. That is a video I'd rather watch than either one, you know. So, yeah, that's the mindset I think to take. Write constantly. Write every idea you have. Publish all of it. Regret it later in the future when you're already a better writer and it doesn't matter anymore. I really need to inspect my beard before I start recording these.